Peter Rabbit lived with his mother, Mrs. Rabbit, and his 3 siblings, Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, in a cozy burrow beneath the roots of a large fir tree. One morning, Mrs. Rabbit told her children she was going to the bakery to buy bread. Before leaving, she sternly warned them, "Do not go into Mr. McGregor's garden. Your father had an accident there. He was caught by Mr. McGregor and put in a pie." With that, she left, carrying her basket. Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail were good little rabbits and decided to go down the lane to gather blackberries. However, Peter, who was a mischievous and adventurous rabbit, decided to do the opposite of what his mother said. He slipped under the gate of Mr. McGregor's garden, excited to explore. Once inside, Peter's eyes grew wide with delight at the sight of the delicious vegetables. He nibbled on some lettuce, French beans, and radishes until he was full. Feeling a bit reckless, he decided to explore deeper into the garden. As he hopped around, he came face to face with Mr. McGregor himself. The farmer shouted, "Stop, thief!" and ran after Peter, waving a rake. Terrified, Peter bolted across the garden, zigzagging through the rows of vegetables. In his panic, he lost one of his shoes in the cabbages and another in the potatoes. Without his shoes, running became more difficult, but Peter kept darting around, trying to escape. Peter ran to a gooseberry net and accidentally got caught. The large buttons of his blue jacket became tangled in the net, and Peter couldn't free himself. Struggling frantically, he began to cry. A group of friendly sparrows flew down and encouraged him to keep trying. With one last desperate tug, Peter managed to wriggle out, but he left his beautiful blue jacket behind. Now jacketless and shoeless, Peter scurried as fast as his little feet could take him, looking for a way out. He hid in a watering can half filled with water to catch his breath. However, Mr. McGregor spotted him and tried to poke him out. Peter scrambled out of the can and sprinted through the garden, knocking over flower pots and causing chaos. Eventually, Peter spotted the garden gate in the distance. He made a mad dash toward it with Mr. McGregor close behind. Just as the farmer was about to grab him, Peter slipped under the gate and escaped into the safety of the woods. Peter didn't stop running until he reached home. He was exhausted, his fur was dirty, and he was trembling with fright. Back at the burrow, Mrs. Rabbit noticed his disheveled state, as well as the absence of his jacket and shoes. She sighed and scolded him gently for being so naughty. While Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail enjoyed a supper of bread, milk, and blackberries, Peter was too sick and upset to eat. Mrs. Rabbit gave him a dose of chamomile tea and tucked him into bed early.